Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Game Master 84 coming at you with some news in esports. Unfortunately, Big Ro was not able to be with us tonight, so we will just make do and move on and go and get this done tonight without him. Alright, so here we go. Gonna start, you guys. We're gonna be starting off with what we always start off with. What we always start off with is game announcements, baby. That's right. We got game announcements this week, guys. The big one is Final Fantasy 15 coming out, September 30th. Right around the corner, honestly. Really excited for the game. I think it's going to be really good. They had a big, huge press event. Trailers and insights and demos going on this weekend. All sorts of stuff for it. Movies coming out. I mean, I don't know about movies. Movie coming out. With that being said, you guys, Final Fantasy looks like it's going to be pretty big. If you guys have any questions, anything about that, make sure you guys just type in Final Fantasy release, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of stuff going on there. Big game, awesome game, glad it's coming out. Can't wait to see it. That being said, Square Enix isn't done yet. Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. It's a long title. It's coming stateside June 27th. Big time game, over in Japan. Glad it's making the move over. We definitely don't have enough RPGs from major production companies on this side of the pond. So it's nice to see them come over. Can't wait to see what they come out with and what it's going to look like and all that. So we'll see what happens there. A bit of unfortunate news this week. We will no longer be seeing games from Evolution Studios. You guys are wondering who Evolution Studios is. Evolution Studios is the company that brought us Drive Club. I hate to say that I saw this coming, but I mean, when you make the mistakes they did and bumble the game Drive Club like they did, I mean, what choice do they really have? It was supposed to be a launch game, came out like 3 years later. It was supposed to be free. They had to come out with 2 different models. All sorts of different things went down with Drive Club. I mean, it was a great game. I saw a bunch of stuff on it. It looked really awesome. I thought we were going to have another good competitor in the racing gaming market. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that'll be happening anytime soon. Unfortunately, Evolution Studios had its doors closed by Sony. So, that is what it is. In other Sony news, they have a exclusive title called Shadow of the Beast. That will be releasing on May 17th. Looks interesting. Really want to see more from it. I haven't seen a ton of stuff on it. Check out more when it comes out and see if it's interesting. But we'll go from there on that one. And then Shadow of Mordor 2. Big time, guys. Big time deal here. It's been leaked. Hasn't been announced, but we're going to talk about this. Shadow of Mordor 2 is leaked through a mocap actor's LinkedIn. Now, who has the time to sit here and just check all this stuff out? I'm not exactly sure. I wish I knew. I wish I had the free time to sit there and go through people's LinkedIn accounts and whatnot and try to figure out exactly what's going on and what projects they did and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, I was just like, I read the story and I'm like, so someone really has like this person's LinkedIn profile pretty much saved and they can check it anytime they want? That's weird, but okay. Hey, whatever, right? To each their own. Can't, don't want to judge. But yeah, so it sounds like Shadow of Mordor 2 is going to be probably coming out this year, especially if the mocap actor put it on their LinkedIn. So we'll probably definitely be seeing a trailer and gameplay at E3 2016, so that's cool to see and hear. In other game releasing news, Ubisoft has announced that we're going to open up a Philippine studio. They're going to be taking some people from their Shanghai studio, which is the studio that developed Black Flag, is the biggest title they developed so far for Assassin's Creed. They are going to be developing the next big project. Period. Don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean they're going to be working on the next Assassin's Creed? Does that mean they're going to be working on the next, what game? Is it going to be a new IP? I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what they're going to end up doing there. I am curious to see what happens with that studio. We will see. it should be interesting to say the least. Yeah, so let's we got the next piece of item here. Oh, that's right, Call of Duty. You know, that little game. It is, or it got leaked, I guess I should say. It got leaked, and what happened is it is going to next year, or this year, when this year when the game comes out, so it'll be Infinity Ward, so probably like a Modern Warfare. It was announced, or not announced, but leaked, that it's going to be in space. I'm going to say my opinions on that, because I'm sure it will end up being a bro topic. But it's going to be in space. If you guys have any comments about that, leave them down below. Let me know what you guys think about it. I'm interested to get people's thoughts and opinions on it. But anyways, with that being said, Call of Duty World League is going on. Let's talk about this little guy for a minute real quick. So last weekend, after we reported, they had their relegation and stage 1 playoffs. So the teams are thus Exertus, LDC, Vitality, and Giants all won. Pulse, Fabe, Rampage Tempo, and Supremacy all lost. There you go. That's the nitty gritty on the relegation over in Europe. And then it was Splice, Excel, Epsilon, and TCM in the quarterfinals. Team Infused and Millennium both had buys. Splice beat Excel, moving them to play a game against Team Infused. They beat Excel 4-3. They beat Team Infused 4-3 on their way to the finals. Epsilon took on TCM Gaming. They beat TCM 4-1. And then Millennium put the hammer down and said, no Epsilon. 4-0'd Epsilon, Team Millennium did. And then Millennium and Splice in the championships. Millennium single-handedly took down Splice. Splice only took one map off of them. Millennium wins 4-1. So Millennium is your Stage 1 champions in the Call of Duty World League. Over on the North American side, we are going to be having some new teams in the Stage 2. Dream Team beat C9 Eclipse, so they will be staying. H2K beat Team Liquid, they will be staying. Here's where it gets interesting. Cloud9 versus Counterlogic Gaming. Cloud9 4-1 Counterlogic Gaming to move themselves into the Stage 2 of the next round. And then the biggest upset of the weekend so far, King Pappy taking down Team Caliber 4-2. 4-2. King Pappy will be in the Stage 2 or the Stage 2 season. So we'll definitely see what goes on there. Interested to see what happens. I kind of like the whole fact that there's going to be some new blood. I can't say that I'm not unhappy about that. I think it's a great thing. So we'll see what happens there. But you guys a rundown. So if you guys are interested in watching the playoffs, here's the schedule. This is all Pacific Standard Time. So starting tomorrow at 10 a.m., you're going to have Rise Nation versus Luminosity Gaming, followed up at 12:30 by Optic Gaming and Team Solo Mid. Second to last match of the night is going to be Team Elevate versus Team Envious, and to end the night, FaZe Clan versus Complexity Gaming. Again, your start times are 10 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5:30 p.m., all Pacific Standard Time. On Sunday, your guys' semifinals will be starting at noon, and then that'll be the first match in the semifinals, and then you'll have the second match start at 2:30, and the championship round for the Stage 1 playoffs will be played at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. I know it's going to be hard to tune into everything. This weekend is an action-packed weekend, unfortunately. So it's going to be really hard to catch all the games, but, find ways to make it work. Alrighty, guys. So, yeah, apparently the Gatekeeper wanted to be a part of the action today, so decided to join in. Not actually awake, though. Just talking in his sleep. That's how he talks. Freaking me out, man. Come on. I'm trying to get this video done, dude. freaking gatekeeper. Anyways, moral of the story. So, next piece of news. We have MLG Columbus is also going on this. See, this is an action-packed weekend, guys. Like, I swear, everybody's having a tournament this weekend. If you're a big esports fan, this is the weekend for you. MLG Columbus is going on this weekend. Obviously, the big tournament there is CSGO, $1 million prize pool. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to keep up to date with it. So much is going on in this tournament, though. I keep seeing all these little news bites coming out of the tournament, and it just sounds like a madhouse. You got upsets after upsets after upsets. You got teams that just have no business beating other teams. It just sounds like a crazy tournament. I mean, you got a North American team in the semifinals, if I remember hearing the story right. Quarterfinals or semifinals. Anyways, an American team. That does not happen in CSGO. CSGO is controlled by the Europeans, and they're just not doing very well at this tournament. It's kind of shocking. I'm happy because North American teams being represented. Doesn't always happen that way, though. But, so for you CSGO fans, congratulations. I mean, awesome tournament to watch this weekend. I've been hearing crazy stuff all weekend about overtime rounds going just ridiculous amounts. Teams are just so on par with each other this year. It just sounds amazing to me. I really wish I had the time to tune in. Unfortunately, I did not. And just to make matters worse, you guys, we're going to be having another tournament series coming into play. It's an international tournament series by the one and only Alibaba, everybody's favorite source for cheap stuff on the internet. It's going to be called Esports. It's going to be international tournaments for Dota 2, CSGO, StarCraft 2, and Hearthstone. They've already announced they're going to be having $1.5 million tournaments for Dota and CSGO. It will be a $5.5 million tournament series total. How the rest of that breaks down, not exactly sure, but we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm always down to have more esports out there and international, and just like some of these guys just don't have leagues. I mean, you're talking Dota 2, StarCraft 2, which is kind of on the way out, but I'm really glad to see Alibaba's taking a chance on it. And Hearthstone, I mean, there's really none of those guys have a league set up like some of these other games do. So it's really awesome to get to see that. Also, in some other tournament news going on this weekend as well, you have the Heroes of the Storm Spring Champs that going on in Seoul, Korea. I seem to have lost that information. I had it up here earlier, but unfortunately, due to some recording issues, I do not have it anymore. So unfortunately, that's what's going on there. I apologize, you guys. But anyways, let's move on. So the next piece of news. In MOBA business, University of California, Irvine has announced that they will be having League of Legends scholarships. Now you may be saying, like, why are we even talking about this? There's a whole series devoted to colleges that have League of Legends teams. Yeah, a lot of private schools have League of Legends teams. As a matter of fact, not only is it a lot, it's all of them. The only schools that offer scholarships currently are private schools. University of California, Irvine is the first public school to offer a scholarship. It is such a big deal that Riot is actually going to build them a new internet cafe, and it's actually going to be modeled off of Korean computer cafes, which I think is a great idea, because if you think about it, who are always the best in the world at League of Legends? Korean players. So you might as well model up what you do after them. I think it's really awesome that Riot is also supporting this, especially being a public school. I think it's just a great thing. So good job, UC Irvine. Way to take initiative, way to realize esports are a sport. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate the love you guys are showing there. But yeah, so with that being said, what we got next year? What do we get next year? I've lost my thing. Speaking of League of Legends, that is right. League of Legends news. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it last weekend. We were still kind of in the midst of the promotion tournament for EU. Nothing changed in the EU, guys. It's still the same teams in EU. The challengers did not win any of the matches, so you'll be having the exact same EU roster from the spring split to the summer split. No big deal. Let you guys know what's going on in North America promotion series. We have Dignitas. Dignitas will be playing. What the heck are these guys called? I just saw the name. Oh my god, what's happening? Team Dragon Knights, I believe, if I remember correctly, which is true. They'll be the first match, kicking it off on April 6th, followed by Renegades versus, and that's at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, April 6th. Team Dignitas versus Team Dragon Knights. Team who loses that, out. So if Team Dragon Knights beats Dignitas, Dignitas is out of the LCS. And then what happens is, whoever wins from that match will end up playing Renegades. And then whoever wins that match between Renegades and the winner of Dignitas versus Team Dragon Knights will be going into the LCS. And make it more interesting and more fun, you guys, then what will happen is the winner of Team Impulse versus Apex will get into the LCS, and then the losers of the Renegades versus whoever the winner is from Dignitas and Team Dragon Knights will play against the loser of Team Impulse versus Apex, and whoever wins that is gone. So exciting things happening in relegation. That'll be happening obviously a few days after the playoffs, or the first round of the playoffs for both EU and NA. So it's gonna be really interesting to go from there. So with that being said, guys, good luck to those teams. Hopefully people win. Hopefully, unfortunately, some people won't be out, but we'll probably see them again in the Challenger Series. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna jump right into brackets. It's all about that March Madness. Wait, we're a month late. But sorry, that was a terrible joke. Anyways, so here we go, guys. Here's the quarterfinal brackets for your European League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split. Team Vitality versus Fnatic, April 2nd, aka today, 8 a.m. Origin versus Unicorns of Love, April 3rd, 8 a.m. And then next week, the 9th and 10th, you'll be having the semifinals, and then the finals will be 17th or 16th and 17th. So that's your EU brackets. Over in NA, we have also happening today at noon, Cloud9 versus TSM, Team Liquid versus Energy Esports. And then obviously on the 9th and 10th, and the 16th and 17th will be the semifinals and finals for those teams. Immortals and Counterlogic Gaming did get the bye. I forgot to tell you guys who got the bye over on the EU side. Let me see if I can look it up real quick for you. I can. So we got G2 Esports and H2K both got the byes over on the EU side. So make sure you guys are keeping track of that. That's another tournament going on this weekend. It's just a crazy weekend for tournaments, but I think that is the last one we're going to be talking about today. Now we're going to be moving slightly away. This is slightly linked to video games. Well, it is definitely to video games. Not quite video game news, but sometimes you got to have a little bit of fun with everything. So what's happening is this. Yeah, where did that story go? There it is. Okay. So I think this is crazy, and this is the reason we're going to be talking about it for a second. Assassin's Creed and the Splinter Cell movies could be getting sequels. The movies aren't even out yet. We're not even close to them coming out, for crying out loud. I mean, you're talking Assassin's Creed is set for December 21st of this year. So you're talking, we still got 8 months. 8 months before Assassin's Creed's out. And we're already talking about sequels? Like, come on, guys. Let's get a little bit closer and then start talking about sequels. But, obviously they're confident in their product. Splinter Cell is also expected to get a sequel. That movie is not even coming out until 2017. But cool news, guys. Tom Hardy will be in Splinter Cell. Perfect pick, I think. But yeah, no. Let me know what you guys think about sequels. You're talking about sequels 8 months to over a year ahead of time. Let me know what you guys think down below. And let me know if you guys' opinions on any of the stories we have talked about today. It'd be very helpful as we move in to our last piece of information. Now, this one's more of a passion story for me. Doesn't really, it's not necessarily newsworthy. I just think it's freaking crazy. So for those of you guys who have ever heard of EVE Online, it is a space. It's a game that occurs in space. It's an MMO. They actually have, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, one of the best economies out of any MMO ever. You can buy stuff with real money. You can farm the ISK. You can make things. You can sell things. There's all sorts of different things you can do in this game. It actually has its own economy. And things will go up in price and go down in price and go back up in price. It's a fluid economy. The CCP, the people who make it, do not have any control over the economy portion. They only control the game, and it's just crazy to me. They just let it go, and it's like, if for some reason everybody mines up a certain mineral, well, guess what's going to happen with the last guy that has all that mineral? He's going to charging people an arm and a leg because they have to have it. That's what kind of game it is. It sounds really great. I've always wanted to play it. My brother plays it. He's always really enjoyed it. Always been trying to get me into it. And then this news that I found out came out and makes me wish that I had taken him up on this, because maybe I would have been part of this. But this is how big this game is, you guys. So let's see. Anyways, sorry guys. Funny things are happening. Anyways, so you can have different factions in EVE, and obviously whenever you decide to have factions, not everybody's going to get along. So moral of the story is this: there are a few big factions, and what happened was someone didn't pay. Someone said they paid. Anyways, moral of the story is bigger argument going on. And this week, there on the 28th, I want to say is when this happened. There was a small skirmish, as they call it, with a participation of 5,806 pilots over a multi-hour fight. It was the second largest ever of EVE Online. And it is said that this small skirmish has caused roughly $50,000 to $100,000 in real life money. So that's a small skirmish of 5,806, because it was a small skirmish because there was a lot of frigates and nothing too crazy big, no super carriers, nothing like that. No dreadnoughts, nothing like that. Very small ships. So that's why the price was so low. Now, what everybody's saying is this is just the first of many battles to come, and some are even saying, with how big the two coalitions are, that it might become the biggest war ever. Because what's happening is it's actually between two coalition groups. You have the Imperium Coalition and the Money Badger Coalition. Basically, the reason the Money Badger Coalition is being involved is because it's basically everyone and anyone who doesn't like the Imperium Coalition. They're not very nice people, and just, things have happened. But yeah, so guys, let me give you a little example of the most deadliest battle ever in EVE Online. It was 7,548 unique characters belonging to the two different coalitions in the overall battle. And so with that being said, what happened was you had 75 Titans, 13 super carriers, 370 dreadnoughts, 123 carriers. I know this means nothing to everybody. I just want you guys to realize how many ships were involved. Those are all the bigger ships. Obviously, the super carrier is the biggest, and then you work your way down from there. But yeah, 13 of those were destroyed, and they take forever. But here's the crazy thing. So 11 trillion ISK is what was lost in the fight. And just to do some quick math for you, I had this up, but for some reason my 11 million ISK, I had this up on my page, and for some reason it's gone now. Not exactly sure what happened, but 11 million ISK is roughly 300,000 US dollars. Yeah, you guys heard me on that. 300,000 US dollars is about how much 11 million ISK is. And now people are saying that the reason the first battle wasn't so as expensive as this battle beat the first battle was because they did not have any of the super carriers or frigates or dreadnoughts or anything like that. It was a lot of smaller ships. With that being said, as the war continues, I'm sure we'll start going to be seeing some of these battles where they start creeping up on this 11 million ISK mark, which will then churn make it the most expensive if it does beat it. But people are saying that these two coalitions are so big that there's almost no chance that this is not going to escalate into something gigantic. So if you guys have interest in the game, both sides right now are currently and actively picking up people who would love to join their cause. I'm sure, of course, they want people to join their cause. Gotta make it work somehow. So with that being said, guys, that's really all we have for this week. Nothing too exciting, nothing too crazy. There was a few stories I really like the Eve story. I thought was really good. Final Fantasy 15 coming out. But let me know what you guys would like with the news that happened this week. If you guys felt like I missed any news that happened this week, or if you felt like there was something that you want to talk about on the next episode of News and Esports, make sure you guys leave it down in the comments down below. As always, leave a like. That is an order. And make sure you are hitting that subscribe button so you can get your news and your esports news every single week. So thank you all, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully we have Big Row next week. With that being said, guys, this is the Keymaster 84, and as always, we play games to make gains, and haters are going to hate. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.